All right, let's dive in. Today, we're taking a journey deep inside the body to answer a really cool question. What actually happens when you finish a workout? We're going to follow the entire chain reaction, from the first 24 hours to the massive changes that happen over months, to see how your body literally rebuilds itself in response to cardio.
I mean, think about it. You finish your run, you catch your breath, grab some water, but on the inside, a whole incredible biological cascade has already kicked off. This is the story of how that single workout starts turning you into a healthier, more efficient version of yourself. So let's get into it.
First up, let's talk about the immediate aftermath. You might think the real, meaningful changes take weeks or months to show up, but nope. Your body gets to work astonishingly fast. We're talking about significant, measurable adaptations happening within a single day.
Just look at this timeline. Within a few hours of finishing, your blood pressure is already starting to drop. Fast forward to the 12-hour mark, and your muscles are getting way better at managing blood sugar. And then, by the time a full 24 hours has passed, your actual blood volume can be significantly higher. These aren't just tiny little tweaks. This is your body immediately prepping for round 2.
And this is one of the craziest parts. A potential 10% bump in your plasma volume. Your body basically senses the stress from the workout and says, okay, we need to be better prepared for next time. So it starts holding on to more fluid and protein in your blood. Why? To make it easier to shuttle oxygen and nutrients all around your body. It's just an incredibly smart and fast adaptation.
And here, you can really see that blood pressure effect in action. We're looking at an average drop of almost 5 points in systolic pressure after just one single session. What's happening is the exercise tells your nervous system to kind of chill out, and it boosts your body's production of nitric oxide, which is a natural compound that helps your blood vessels relax and widen.
Okay, now for that blood sugar improvement. We have to talk about a key player called the GLUT4 transporter. The easiest way to think of these is like little gateways on your muscle cells. When you exercise, it's like a signal that tells these gateways to open up and let glucose in. And here's the cool part. It does this without needing insulin. This makes your muscles super sensitive to insulin for the next 12, even up to 48 hours. It's fantastic for controlling blood sugar.
So the immediate response is pretty impressive, right? But what happens next? Well, over the first few weeks of consistent training, your body moves past those temporary adjustments and starts a serious construction project. It's laying the actual physical groundwork for long-term fitness.
And at the heart of this construction project is mitochondria. You can think of them as the tiny power plants inside your cells. In as little as 2 weeks, your body responds to the new demand by building more of these power plants and making the existing ones bigger. And you know, more power plants means you can produce energy way more efficiently.
But hey, what good are more power plants if you can't get fuel delivered to them, right? Well, that's where the delivery network comes in. Your body literally starts growing new capillaries. These are the tiny little blood vessels that deliver oxygen right to your muscle fibers. Research has shown that capillary density can jump by 20% after just 8 weeks of training. It's wild.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. Researchers had this clever idea. They thought, hey, what if we build up that capillary delivery network first with cardio? Could that actually help people build more muscle later on with weights? The whole theory was that a better delivery system could bring more nutrients and fuel to the muscles during lifting, which would mean better results. It's just a fantastic example of how these cardio adaptations can support all your other fitness goals. All right, so after those first few weeks, we move into the long-term remodeling phase. This is where consistent training starts to cause these deep, structural changes that really fundamentally alter your body. This is how you go from just being active to becoming a truly trained person. And the most dramatic change of all happens right in your heart. I mean, it literally gets bigger and stronger. The left ventricle, which is the main pumping chamber, thickens up. A trained heart can push out way more blood with every single beat. That's what we call a higher stroke volume. And because it's so efficient, it doesn't have to beat as often when you're just resting. That's why fit people have a lower resting heart rate. It's a more powerful, more efficient engine. And it's not just the pump that gets an upgrade. The pipes do too. The major arteries carrying blood down to your legs and arms actually get wider. One study found that the femoral artery, that's a big one in your leg, got 9% bigger after only 3 months of training. This just makes it easier for that newly powerful heart to pump blood all through your system. So let's just bust a huge myth right now.
You always hear people say cardio kills your gains. Well, the science says something very different. As you can see from this quote, high-quality, high-volume aerobic training doesn't just not kill gains, it can actually cause muscle growth, especially in those slow-twitch, endurance-focused muscle fibers. It's not a zero-sum game at all.
Okay, so we've seen all these amazing changes happening on the inside. But what does this all mean for your actual day-to-day health? Let's connect the dots between these adaptations and the real-world benefits, because this is where it really, really matters.
I mean, when you pull all the data together, the picture is just crystal clear. Consistent aerobic exercise lowers your blood pressure for the long haul, and it improves every single major marker for heart health. It boosts your good HDL cholesterol while it brings down the bad LDL and your triglycerides. These are the exact numbers your doctor looks at to figure out your risk for heart disease.
And hey, remember that blood pressure drop we saw after just one workout? Well, when that becomes a sustained, long-term thing, the payoff is just massive. A consistent drop of only 5 points, which is totally achievable with training, is linked to a 14% reduction in your risk of dying from a stroke. That's huge.
And the benefits for your metabolic health are just as big. In a major study, aerobic training led to a 0.5% drop in HbA1c. Now, that number might not sound like much, but trust me, in the world of diabetes management, that is a clinically significant improvement in long-term blood sugar. It's powerful enough to actually change the course of the disease. Okay, so we've firmly established that the benefits are enormous, but this brings us to maybe the most common question of all. How fragile is all this hard work? What happens if you get sick or life gets crazy and you have to take a few days off? How long do these benefits actually stick around?
Well, to answer that, we're going to look at a meta-analysis that pulled together the results from 14 different studies. Now, what you're seeing here is called a forest plot. Don't worry, it's pretty simple. Each line is a single study, and if the line is to the left of that center line, it means exercise had a positive effect. And as you can see, that big black diamond at the bottom, that's the overall result, is clearly and significantly on the side of exercise.
So yeah, this confirms what we already know. Regular training works. But the researchers here did something really clever. They dug into a crucial detail: when the final measurements were taken after the very last workout. Did the benefit just disappear the second people stopped training?
And this is the amazing, surprising answer. Just look at the bottom chart. They pulled together the studies that waited more than 72 hours, that's 3 full days after the last workout to take their measurements, and the result? The benefit was still there. It was still statistically significant. The improved insulin sensitivity didn't just vanish, it actually persisted.
And that really gets to the heart of it all. The long-term benefit you get from exercise is so much more than just that temporary feeling after your last workout. Consistent training builds a more robust, a more resilient body. It's a true chronic adaptation that helps you maintain better health, even when you have to take a short break. Your hard work builds a buffer.
So, that leaves us with one last thought to chew on. If you know that the benefits of your training are this persistent, that they don't just evaporate if you miss a day or two, how does that change the way you think about your own fitness? Maybe it's less about being perfect and never missing a single workout, and more about just consistently building that resilient foundation one workout at a time. Thanks for joining me.